What's up? It's your boy, making a Xenoblade X video for the first time in a while because I wanted to. And in this video I'm going to be doing Skell build because I realized that some of my friends only really know about Xenoblade X through me and the videos in my streaming playthrough that I did. So because of that, some of them probably think that because I really only use ground builds, that ground builds generally outclass Skell builds. They're generally a lot better, and with how good ground builds are, there's not really a whole lot of reason to use Skell builds. Which is kind of true if we're being completely honest here, but there are still some things that Skell builds are very good for. For example, I believe in very high level play, Skells are used for breaking appendages, for like the extremely optimized play. Skells are still used for things like breaking appendages, inflicting debuffs, and stuff like that, so they do still have their uses. But even outside of that, Skells still can be very good for outputting DPS and dealing with a lot of enemies on just your average everyday needing to kill things sort of thing. And I'm going to be showing off one of the probably better skill builds for that, the Diskbomb skill build. My build that I have is pretty standard, it's nothing special, but I kind of just wanted to show it off and make a video about it because I wanted to. So I'll go ahead and kind of scroll through my gear here, so you can just see what I'm running in case anyone who's watching this doesn't really know about what to run on a Diskbomb build, and I'll kind of talk about the specifics. So for my armor and the augments, I'm just running a whole bunch of reflect augments, and that's because the Skell that I'm running here has a part of its overdrive, it will give reflect beam. So the easiest way to survive with this is just use overdrive and have all of your reflect augments. The other note about my armor is that I'm running the heavy Skell armor that has attribute thermal. I don't remember which level 60 Skell this comes from, but because disc bombs are thermal, this armor is pretty good because it increases your thermal damage. Next, let's talk about the disc bomb. So the reason why disc bombs are so strong is because of a certain bug with the MSL mag upgrade. Now I'm probably going to get some of the technical details of this wrong, and if anyone wants to that knows better, they can yell about me in the comments and tell me how it actually works and the more technical details. But essentially what I'm going to be saying here is it's correct enough, at least for you to get an idea of what's happening and why this is so strong. So essentially what the MSL mag upgrade is supposed to do is it's supposed to increase the amount of ammo for your weapons, be it for skells, it can be for some of the projectile shooting arts, or just for your auto attacks. And to compensate for the fact that you're shooting a lot more shots, you do less damage per hit. Makes sense. So the bug with this though is that for disc bombs, essentially what they do normally is they shoot up 3 volleys of, I believe, 6 explosions. That number might be wrong, it doesn't really matter though. But that's what they're supposed to do normally. So the MSL mag upgrade you think would make it shoot an increased number of volleys with 6 explosions. That's not what happened. What happens instead is it increases the number of explosions, and it will shoot an increase. It will still shoot only 3 volleys. So essentially, you're getting way more hits with the same number of volleys. So the animation's the same amount of time to get all the hits, but you're hitting way more times. That by itself would probably be pretty strong, but that's not the really glitched part of it. The really glitched part of it is that if you have this on your left sidearm, it will apply the increased number of explosions to your right sidearm disc bomb as well, without the damage decrease. And this results in disc bombs being way more powerful than they were really ever intended to be. There's some more parts of the glitch, but there are other parts of it aren't really relevant. These are the only parts that are really relevant to this build. So essentially what I'm doing is that on my right sidearm, I'm running a whole bunch of weapon speed so that I can get auto attacks out of it quicker. And then on my left sidearm, because it has the decreased damage, I'm just kind of running normal damage increasing augments, since getting more shots out of it doesn't matter quite as much. And I guess I can go ahead and talk about my other Skell augments for the weapons real quick, which is that I'm running a combination of Slayer augments and ranged attack up. So we'll be switching these Slayer augments out based on which enemies we're fighting. So whenever I fight Mechanoids, I'll switch them to Mechanoid Slayer. When we're fighting Ultrafaunals, I'll put it on Ultrafauna Slayer, things like that. But essentially for the gear that I have, the amount of Theroid Slayer and the ranged attack up is pretty much, this is the sweet spot for my Skell and the gear that I have. By the way, my gear is not completely optimal, so don't worry too much about having the exact traits I have. Just honestly, kind of whatever is fine as long as you have the MSL mag upgrade on your left disc bomb. But yeah, for the skill build that I have, this is pretty close to optimal. Might not be perfectly optimal, but it's close enough. So for the other weapons that matter, on the shoulders I'm running drones. These are beam attribute weapons that have a very short animation, but do damage over time. Just for the length of the animation, they do a lot of damage. They're really good for that, especially since you want most of your damage to be coming from your auto attacks, and you don't want to be stuck in long animations. And then for my 2 arm weapons, I'm just running ranged attack up shields. There's probably something better I can run over one of these, but I don't really need anything else on this Skell build, at least not through my experience. This is more than sufficient, and so this is just what I run. For ground gear is not tremendously important, but if you want to kind of optimize your build a bit more, you can run Skell gear. What I personally run is I run enough GP drive to have 6,000 GP, so that I can always just instantly activate another overdrive when one ends. You don't need to have that much GP drive, it's just what I run, and I just put everything else in ranged attack drive. Realistically, I could probably change out one of these GP drives for ranged attack drive, and I think that'll put me at max ranged attack drive. I forget, I haven't counted it up in a while. But either way, some combination of ranged attack drive and GP drive, whatever you're comfortable with, is really what you want to be running for this build. And then for skills, the only skill that matters is Synchrony. It basically just boosts your Skell stats based on, just boosts your Skell stats. It's one of 2 skills that affect Skells, the other one being Stellar Entry, which isn't super important because Diskbombs just generate a ton of GP anyways, and I'm going to be doing a Skell build, not a ground build, so I don't really have any ground augments that would help me get overdrive quickly. With that out of the way, though, I think that's about time to get into the fun part of this video and start blowing up some super bosses with some Diskbombs, so I will see. So to start off here, we're going to be taking on Gradivus, the Headless Emperor. Gradivus has 100 million HP, so he will be surviving for a little while, not too long, but definitely for a little bit longer than he would against an optimized ground build. So to kind of go over how I personally tend to use the Skell build, essentially what I'll do is I will use the right sidearm auto attack, left sidearm auto attack, right sidearm auto attack, and I'll go ahead and use an art, and that just gets out some pretty good DPS. I'm sure that I could optimize a bit more if I need to, but honestly, this does a very good amount of damage while also giving you time to get off your drones, as well as get off tons of cockpit times, just simply because, well, your drones are pretty, get off pretty good damage, and more damage than you're probably getting off of another left volley. And also just generally, drones are pretty decent. So as I mentioned, pretty much whenever your overdrive ends, you're just going to want to reactivate right away. Diskbombs build up a ton of GP, so you don't really have to worry too much about your GP management. And then Reflex will just keep you alive as long as the enemy doesn't use any attacks that can't be reflected. So Gradivus entered in rage, so he's taking half damage. This is taking a little bit longer than it usually does. We're making good progress through him still. And there goes Gradivus. So now that Gradivus, Mr. 100 million HP is out of the way, let's go ahead and move on to some other super bosses and see how well this Skell build fares. So I will see you in a moment. So the next super boss I'm going to be taking on is your boy Nardacyon. So in order to do this, you of course need to first weaken down Nairn here so that he will actually call in Skell. And so I'm going to be doing that using just a drone, because the Diskbomb can just like absolutely completely and utterly destroy him before he has time to call in Skell. So Nardacyon has some thermal resistance, but overall he's definitely not going to be doing a very good job of surviving, and even his spike is being reflected at him, and you can see he's not lasting very long. So now my DPS is going to be quite a bit down because I'm going to be missing a lot of shots, and nope, that didn't take very long. Usually I miss more shots there in the last phase after he breaks off the armor, but yeah, he went down pretty quickly. So with that out of the way, let's go ahead and move on to the next super boss. Alright, so the next super boss we're going to be taking on is going to be Pharsis, the Everqueen. She's not going to be lasting very long, but she will definitely be generating quite a bit of lag here today. So just like last time, just going to be kind of doing the exact same thing as far as the cycling. Auto-attacked, and there she goes. She got off one attack. So that was Pharsis down to the Diskbomb Skell build. And now I'm going to head off to the final super boss of this video. I will see you in a few. Okay, so for the final super boss in this video, I'm going to be taking on everyone's favorite rainbow chicken, Telethia the Endbringer. I have slotted on some Nullify Reflect augments for Thermal and Beam, and unlike Pharsis, Telethia will actually will last a little while, because whenever entering phase 2 she becomes invincible. So let's fly down to where we're going to meet her and Divine Roost and just make sure I have enough GP to start another overdrive right away so I don't die to a spike. So now we just kind of wait down here, and if I'm fast enough I will be able to actually kill Telethia before she goes back up into the sky. But if she goes back into the sky, it's not that big of a deal. Disc bombs fire off so many projectiles that I will just be able to eat straight through her soul read, and the fight will just end pretty quickly then. And looks like she's gonna go down. Yep, there we go. So skip to phase 3, and anything down this? No. But that is the end of this video. Telethia was the last super boss that I wanted to take on with this build, and I feel like I've done a good job. I don't know if I've done a good job, but I've enjoyed showing off this Skell build. So this is a bit different than a lot of the videos I do on my channel, and I haven't played Xenoblade X in a while because I've been doing a lot of Definitive Edition. So I do hope that you did enjoy this video. I do want to do more Xenoblade X videos, but they'll probably be sprinkled in and out of other videos that I want to be making in the upcoming weeks and probably months. So with all that out of the way though, I do hope that you've enjoyed, and I will see you in the next video. See ya.